Let's jump right into this explainer. If you're a parent, you know the drill. You really want to enrich your kid's life with music, movement, maybe a little discipline, right? But then you're staring at a dance studio schedule totally stuck on one huge question. What is the actual absolute perfect age to start them in ballroom dance? Do you get them in as early as humanly possible or hold off until they're a bit older? Well, today we're going to break down the specific developmental stages of ages 4, 6, and 8 so you can figure out exactly what works best for your family. Okay, let's dive into this. The biggest fear I hear from parents is that they're somehow going to completely miss a critical developmental window. Or, on the flip side, that they'll push too hard and burn their kid out by starting way too early. So, is there a magic age? Look, I want to reassure you right from the jump. There is no single magic number. Instead, we're talking about different developmental windows, and each one offers completely different advantages. Here's a quick roadmap for our explainer today. 1. Readiness instead of age. 2. Age 4 and playful early movement. 3. Age 6, which is the sweet spot. 4. Age 8 and competitive focus. 5. The readiness checklist. And finally, 6. Finding the right fit. Section 1. Readiness instead of age. Why maturity actually matters way more than a number. So the absolutely crucial point here is how we're defining readiness. When dance instructors evaluate a kid, they really aren't just counting the candles on a birthday cake. They're looking for true readiness. And that means matching a child's maturity, their physical coordination, and their specific ability to actually follow directions in a group setting. Think about it. You could totally have a laser-focused 4-year-old who thrives in a group, right? While an older child might still find simply waiting their turn nearly impossible. So it really just comes down to where your individual child is, right now, today. Let's map this journey out a bit. As we go from age 4 to 8, the developmental landscape completely transforms. At 4 years old, the focus is strictly on early movement. By 6, we transition into structured progress. And then by 8, a child is often ready for a real competitive focus. So let's unpack each of these stages, starting with our youngest dancers. Section 2, Age 4, Playful Early Movement. Think imitation and energetic rhythms. When we're talking about 4-year-olds, we are dealing with a ton of wonderful, bounding, totally unpredictable energy. At this age, kids generally learn best through imitation. I mean, let's be real, they're absolutely not going to sit through a dry lecture on foot positioning. They thrive on playful rhythms and really short attention-based activities. If an instructor asks them to, say, march like a giant instead of count to 4, they are going to shine. If the lessons are high energy and super supportive, this is just an incredibly fun time to start. But teaching a 4-year-old is definitely a delicate balancing act. The massive benefit here is their fast pickup. A lot of kids this age can mimic basic footwork and posture surprisingly quickly, but the trade-off is consistency. A 4-year-old's impulse control and attention span can vary wildly from day to day, honestly, even minute to minute. 1 second they're perfectly mimicking a waltz step, and the next they're literally pretending to be a T-Rex. So, if a class demands long periods of correction or endless repetition, a kid this young is probably going to struggle to stay engaged. So, what's the big takeaway for our youngest group? Age 4 is a fantastic fit if your kid is already super enthusiastic about dancing and can follow simple directions. But, and this is a major caveat, they absolutely need a beginner class specifically designed for preschoolers. It has to be a truly child-focused program that embraces all that wild energy instead of fighting it. Moving on to Section 3, Age 6, the sweet spot. It's all about a balance of structure and steady progress. Right around age 6, the developmental picture really shifts. Kids at this stage typically gain much better body control and physical coordination. And crucially, they finally develop the stamina they actually need to practice technique. They can handle structured learning so much more comfortably, meaning they can listen, remember steps, and tweak small details with way less frustration than a toddler. Because of this, for many families, age 6 is exactly what experts call the sweet spot. It is the most balanced choice. At 6, ballroom dance fundamentals, like maintaining a proper frame, understanding timing, basic turns, partner awareness, they finally start to click. 6-year-olds can actually begin to understand what good technique physically feels like, and they start grasping why it matters rather than just mindlessly going through the motions. So, age 6 is your absolute best fit if your child is fully ready for group instruction and genuinely enjoys the process of practice. If you as a parent are looking for clear, steady skill progression without waiting ages to see results, this is a fantastic, highly balanced time to enroll them. Section 4, Age 8, Competitive Focus, Long-Term Fundamentals and Showcases. When an 8-year-old steps out onto the dance floor for the very first time, they bring a distinct set of advantages. By this age, most kids have highly reliable coordination. But honestly, their biggest advantage is cognitive. They have this incredible, unique ability to absorb and actually apply coaching feedback. They understand the crucial difference between just memorizing where their feet go and actually executing those steps with the correct timing and posture. The massive upside of starting at 8 is rapid progression. Because they can take that feedback, they improve fast. But there's always a trade-off, right? By starting at 8, they might experience what instructors call missed early comfort. Basically, they might have missed out on that super natural, uninhibited rhythm development that toddlers get just from, playing around with movement. But the good news? Older beginners can absolutely still build incredibly strong technique if they're willing to just put in the consistent practice. So age 8 is your best fit if your child is internally motivated. If they are ready for frequent practice and you're hoping for a much faster path to polished fundamentals, maybe with an eye toward showcases or even a competitive pathway, age 8 is just a powerhouse launch point. Section 5. The Readiness Checklist. How to actually decide for your child. If you're sitting there weighing your options right now, I want you to ask yourself these 5 questions. First, focus. Can your child follow directions for 30 to 45 minutes, or do they handle a shorter preschool class better? Second, coordination. Can they balance and repeat simple patterns without getting super frustrated? Third, musical timing. Do they naturally move or start clapping when music comes on? Fourth, consider their learning style. Do they need a play-based environment like we see at 4, or can they handle structured feedback, which is expected around 6 to 8? And finally, motivation. Are they actually going to want to practice at home? A pro tip here, booking a simple trial class is literally the fastest way to check all of these boxes. Section 6. Finding the right fit. Matching the studio to the developmental stage. Okay, the bottom line is this. Whichever age you choose, you absolutely have to prioritize a studio that teaches posture, rhythm, and partner awareness in a way that is fully appropriate for that specific child's age. Some studios offer multi-level beginner paths, while others have strictly rigid age group tracks. The best class is simply the one that aligns its teaching approach with exactly where your child is developmentally today. With the right environment, you can build a rock-solid foundation starting at literally any of these ages. I want to leave you with this final, really crucial question to ponder. Is your child ready to just move, or are they ready to practice? Try not to stress over a perfect, rigid timeline. Just observe your child today, look at their unique needs, and let their readiness guide your next step onto the dance floor. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.